Hello, and welcome to the Thoughts and Players 2023 Games of the Annual.
Hello and welcome to level 91 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy, here with my two compadres. Of course, I have David.
What up?
And I have Corey.
Fellas, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, it's level 91. It is our, most people call them Game of the Year, or Game of the Year awards. Right. For us, it's the GOTA, the Games of the Annual.
That's right.
And yes, and it's 2023 edition. What we're doing this year is we each have 5 of our top games from this year. We'll probably have a couple of honorable mentions, but that's what we're going for. This is a straight end of year. We want to summarize our gaming experience for 2023, which was just a great big bonkers year for gaming.
Yeah.
One of the great years, if I can remember.
Now, if you've been listening, we used to do top 10s. Some negative people might say, hey, you guys didn't play as much this year. That's why you're dropping it to top 5. But I think top 5 is great. Top 5 is really whittling it down to the best of the best. I've had to make some really difficult cuts in this.
Yeah, me too.
And if we did do a top 10, Diablo 4 would still not make it.
There you go. I mean, you know what? Hey, I've been doing it all year. Let's round out the year with another drug analogy. We're giving you that pure uncut, right? We're not going to cut it in with they give you 10. Well, okay, let's give 10. No, we're giving you that straight pure 5. These are the 5 games you might want to go out and grab right now.
Yeah.
We can start with a couple. We can start with some honorable mentions. I think we're going to start with that. And I say rather than drawing them out, we just kind of just rattle off the honorable mentions we have before we get into our list. So I'll start with that. I have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
One of those honorable mentions is Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I did a review on it. It's an exceptional. It's a great game. It's a great game. Great story. Heartfelt. Very good.
Wow.
It's an honorable mention. Wow. The other honorable mention is going to be, oh man, what is it? I just had it in my head. I can't believe I just did this.
City Skylines 2.
No, not City Skylines. The other honorable mention is going to be Forza Motorsport.
You didn't even have a comment.
Really? Previously, that's made it onto your top.
It has.
Okay.
It's not Horizon, but it's very good. Played some good games.
Yeah, for sure.
So that makes it on to as an honorable mention. If you want to give a very distant third honorable mention, I would maybe put Starfield up there. But it doesn't really hit near the list. But that's that. Yeah, that's my.
Okay, David, why don't you give your honorable mentions next?
Okay.
Twisted
I don't have
Metal,
any.
The TV series.
Except
Last of Us TV series, Super Mario movie.
On a technicality, it doesn't count, but I haven't played since the first month it came out, and that's why it's not in the top 5, is Pokemon Go. I have been playing that a lot and having a lot of fun with it, but I played it for a month when it came out.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I have 4. 2 that I just haven't put enough time into, and 2 I have beat. They just don't make the top 5. Hogwarts Legacy. It's just outside the top 5, and Resident Evil 4 Remake is just outside the top 5. Both of those would have been probably 6 and 7. 2 that could definitely have made the list had I put more time into them. Baldur's Gate 3. Mm-hmm. That one is a shame. It's obviously won Game of the Year for the Game Awards. Great game, as I can tell, but just haven't put the time into it. And Armored Core 6. That's another one that I put some time into it. I would like to beat it before I kind of crown it a certain way. But yeah, definitely maybe could have made it depending on it. But yeah, so I got 5 games. I feel better than that. I'm very excited to talk about.
All right. See, out of all of us, I have you as making the hardest list because you just play so many different games.
If you can believe it, it was 5 to 1, as easy as you could get. Easy as you. The most difficult part was, I don't know if you remember previous years, I always put the best blah, 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 blah game of the year. That was hard. That took me 15, 20 minutes, but I think I got some good.
All righty. Well, how are we feeling? David, did you have any honorable mentions, or we just want to jump right into our
That
top
was
five?
it. Let's go.
All right. All right, I'll start it off then. We're going into top 5 games of the annual. It's a lot of pressure. Number 5 for me wins the RESPECT award. That game goes to Thronefall. One of the things I've talked about with this game is that it is a game that that appreciates and respects my time. But overall, it is just a really fun horde mode RTS. You can jump in and jump out. There's a lot of different things you can build. There's a lot of different ways and like milestones that you can beat. It encourages replayability, but again, respects your time. It's just a nice, fun little game. And I very quickly threw 30, 40 hours into it. And there's more. There will always be more content. It's $8. It might be on sale even more now because the Steam Winter Sale is going on. Check it out. It's just a great game. And I love the two developers that are working on it. And that's number 5 for me.
It's a littler game, right? Like an indie.
It's a small game, indie game.
Love for the little guy. I love it, and you've talked about it quite a bit, so it's not a surprise here for me.
Yeah.
I still can't picture it in my head what type of game it is. Like I don't remember ever seeing it, but hey,
I'll have to send you the Steam page
for sure.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
All right.
David.
So I'll be honest with you guys and the audience. I played 5 new games this year, so the hardest point of this was putting them in an order. And with that, number 5 would have to be Dead Space. Now, I played it for about 2.5 hours, and I did enjoy it. I never played the original. You know, the graphics was great, the storytelling was great, the gameplay was great. I just have an addiction problem. I can't. I story modes just don't hook me like multiplayer for some reason. I really honestly hope I jump back into all of these games that are on this list. But that's my number 5.
Yeah, I really feel like given enough time, you would have really probably loved that game if you had played it to completion. That's a very early one too in the year. So
yeah.
Number 5 for me, gentlemen, is the best game I'm currently playing and plan to finish, which really doesn't narrow it down. But hey, that's just the way I buy and play games. Game
Is that
of the year.
Whole name?
That's the whole award.
That is amazing.
And that game, you already heard a couple of the honorable mentions for games I'm playing. This one is Super Mario RPG. And let me tell you how surprised. I already told you when I was playing it how surprised I was at how much fun this game was. And it's continued. My son loves to watch me play this game, so I do get a little bit of time with it here and there. But it's such a good RPG. It's a little simpler in mechanics than other ones, but it still brings it up to the table where you're feeling like I'm growing, the things are getting difficult, and it's just fun. This is the best that any of the Mario characters have ever been. Mario is not a game that's really based on story too much, but the personality of these characters, Mario, Peach, and Bowser, just shines through. It's hilarious. Every town you visit is unique. The music is beautiful. I was just playing today, and they did a remix of the underground music, the with that like Square Enix composer. Oh man, chef's kiss. It was so good. It's a fun game. Like I had mentioned, it's a turn-based RPG, but it's timing-based where you're getting weapons, and they keep it fresh by giving you new weapons. So at first you're throwing a turtle shell, and then you got to time it right, but then you're getting a hammer, and it's just this constant flow of getting new items, new ways to kind of have to battle or time it. And it's just the story's been pretty funny. It looks beautiful. The remake looks really good. They made it kind of like a toy box cartoon style, and I can't say enough good things about this game. Super Mario RPG. Number 5 on my list.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah. I know that's a more recent one that you've been playing. So
yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah. No bad things to say.
Very nice. All righty. Well, number 4, which wins the Where the F Did You Come From award.
Jeremy did it too. I love it.
Yeah. The winner of that goes to Vampire Survivors. This game wasn't on my radar. No, I don't know where the heck it came from. Much like Thronefall is kind of the same, but I give that more to Vampire Survivors because much like where Thronefall, it was, I really love this. I'm going to go ahead and play this. I dare say at some point I became obsessive about Vampire Survivors and playing it and beating it and leveling up and figuring out how to beat the Reaper and then figuring out, during the podcast, all the things you have to do and deciding, I'm not going to do all that. Vampire Survivors is great. it's just one of those games that I didn't expect would even catch my interest. I mean, of course, I'll fall for
Yeah, me too.
a real-time strategy horde game. I mean, that kind of falls in my alley a little bit, but kind of like an auto battler with upgradability and a little bit of RPG elements. Never would have thought so. So, Vampire Survivors, and again, that intro level, the first level, the music, iconic. It's great. It's just, it's especially it's Castlevania moods in and out and all that. It's just a great game. So that's Vampire Survivors for number 4.
When did this come out? Did I didn't play it for the first time this year, did I?
I don't think I did.
I know I played it for the first time this year.
Yeah, I think it's been out for a while.
Okay, because I'm like, that would be my biggest fumble of all time.
Now
it's not on my list. I think I played it last year.
I read that initial release was 2021, but actual like real kind of release was like later in 2022. It was kind of like when it became more widely available. I'm guessing.
Did Steam Deck come out this year?
No.
Okay, so I got Steam Deck when it came out, and that was one of my first games. I just want to make sure I don't have the biggest fumble of all time.
I don't think
would
you
have
do.
been.
Yeah, Steam Deck came out February of 22.
Yeah,
thank God. I got mine in July, and I bought Vampire Survivors. I don't think we did a top 10 list last year. So okay, no. Jeremy, awesome pick. I'm so happy that both of you enjoyed this game.
Yeah,
you both really enjoyed it. So
what's really funny is I haven't played that game in months, and just for some reason I played it today at work. I'm
really.
Yeah.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
We can move on to my number 4. And it is, well, let me see if I have the full name. It is, it's Naraka Blade Point. And that is a battle royale, but it's not just guns. You can use guns in there, but it's also like sword fighting and stuff like that, and bows, and it's more combat based. I only played it for 2 hours, but it was a lot of fun. I am not great at the mechanics of the game, so when I stopped getting put in the bot lobbies and started getting my butt kicked, made it a little more difficult to enjoy it, but it was a good time.
Nice. It's hard. I feel like it's hard to get another battle royal up there with so much time spent on Apex. So
yeah,
agreed. Good. Yeah, it's really hard for me.
All right, gentlemen. My number 4 is the best. I never played this game right, not for 1 minute, but the experience was so great. I can't help but admire a game with this much gameplay freedom. Game of the year.
I know what this is.
And that belongs to The Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep.
I can't fathom the way I played this game this day and age where my time is so limited. I'm just spending the first 40 hours walking around the world, enjoying things, building up stupid little machines that don't really affect anything, trying out the new shrines, which in my opinion were much better than the Breath of the Wild shrines, and just kind of seeing what the world was all about. And Nintendo did a great job of reusing the same map, but just giving it so much more life, adding up the sky islands, adding up the depths. Like, it just felt like a totally, completely new game that just blew the old one out of the water. It's incredible what they did. And once I finally did start playing it the way it wanted me to in terms of doing the dungeons, those were fantastic as well. The puzzles were good. The boss battles were good. The story, while not great in regular terms, was great for a Zelda. I really felt connected. They did a good job of showing these cut scenes that happened in the past. And they did that with Breath of the Wild, but these were awesome as well. So Tears of the Kingdom, number 4. And I also want to give one more caveat. These top 4 right now for me are probably all going to make my top 50, and they're all probably going to land somewhere in the top 30. That's what I think of these 4 games coming up.
Wow.
So Tears of the Kingdom may be number 4, but it's highly thought of by me. I think it's one of the best games.
Yeah, from everywhere, I've only heard great things about it. So I'm not surprised.
So much fun. So much fun.
Awesome. Well, yeah, of course I expected. I guess this is the award show I expected Zelda to win something that they didn't win at the Game Awards.
No.
So this is it.
Not quite.
Not quite. This game is a game that I've actually recently started playing. And therefore you guys probably don't know I've been playing it. But it's on my list. The winner of the Swagger of a Black Teen Award, which will be an award that lives in perpetuity because the unironic usage of that is hilarious. It is never not funny. The Swagger of a Black Teen Award goes to Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Hey, you picked it up.
Yeah, well,
Number 3. He bought it like a year ago or 2
I
years
bought it like
ago.
a year and a half ago. Yeah, I finally opened it up and I've been playing it because I'm trying to like figure my way. Corey, I'm in the same phase you were kind of before, where I just got done with Final Fantasy 16 and I'm trying to find my way forward. This is one of the games that's doing it, and it's doing a great job. Miles Morales is a great character.
Awesome.
The setting and story of the game is awesome. And it's just a great game. And I can think of no game that exudes the swagger of a black teen more than Miles Morales, which is the game that was reviewed when that phrase was coined. I think it's poetic. But yes, the combat is fun. All the special moves, all those different things. It's great. It's a great game.
Yeah, I know you had played the original Spider-Man. You had a few issues with it. One being the stealth missions, which are long gone in this one. Like in terms of like a helpless stealth, you can still play stealth to your liking, but you don't have to pick MJ. And then I feel like maybe the first one was a little bit too long. Which this is a 8 to 10 hour game.
8 to 10 hour game.
Focused on story, focused on combat. Looks good. Has a Christmas setting. Great pick.
Oh yeah, that was another choice. Why? Christmas spirit. It's a Christmas setting. It's great.
For sure.
Okay, this one might be surprising. My number 3 is Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Hey.
Now,
nice.
I should have been just dropped in, addicted, beating this game multiple times, because that's what I did when the original one came out on GameCube. I just couldn't do it. But I played like the first 2 chapters. It looks amazing. It plays amazing. Still has the same great story. You can't go wrong with it. It was a nomination for Game of the Year award, rightfully so. But it just made number 3 for me, which surprised myself.
It's a great game. Probably one of the best remakes of all time. So when you get to it, I'll be really happy to hear your experience with it. All right, gentlemen, my number 3 game of the year is the best. If this game got 1 point for every time the main protagonist smiled, it would only get like a 4 out of 10, but I loved them anyways. Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Now I got a feeling it's going to come up a little bit later in the show, or maybe next. I don't know. But man, this game was a roller coaster ride in terms of excitement. It takes you up that hill and drops you at speeds like you've never seen. The battles keep escalating and escalating and escalating. The fights were so much fun. The magnitude of them is incredible, and that kept me pushing. And kind of like layer that with a really compelling adult story for Final Fantasy, which they always do adult, but there's a lot of side kind of goofiness, and it didn't really have that, which isn't a bad thing. This was like Game of Thrones meets Final Fantasy, and Clive as the protagonist was just amazing. He really did a great job, and he, along up there with Titus, is by far my favorite Final Fantasy protagonist. He was so good. You rooted for him. You loved to see his journey from rich boy who kind of loses it all to being a slave to kind of like leading this rebellion and leading this better world for the people that didn't have that. And it was just a great journey. Now that one a little long, but great game.
Yeah.
I think I've ended all of these with great. So I'm going to try to stop.
They're all great games.
They're all great. That's the thing.
I expected this one to be in your top 5 too.
Yeah.
You really,
for sure.
really raved about it. So
I loved it.
I was right.
I loved it. Great,
all right.
Great game.
Number flying through it here. Number 2 for me is the I don't think there were many blacks in it, but at least it was tonally dark award. That goes to Inside.
No,
okay?
Inside. Oh my god.
Inside is just a beautiful game. And the storytelling and the lore, the mechanics of how they use all those mechanics and how they deploy and use it in the game is masterfully done. I talked before about, in the review, the utilization of the sound mixed with the art style. It says everything. It creates a mood and an atmosphere that is just like unmistakable. And part of the game I played on the TV, just regular, but much of the game I played on my computer with headphones on, and I feel like that's where you really get to experience, and everything comes together as far as hearing the sound and the audio design and the music and how that marries with the platforming and the action and the tone and how it looks and all that stuff. It's a great, just absolutely one of the great games. It is one of the greatest. This is one that I would probably say, I'm not sure about my whole list, but this is one I for sure would say also, like with Corey, that top 50, it probably cracks the list somewhere on that because it is a thoroughly exceptional game. So that's number 2, the Inside.
You loved it? Oh, go ahead, David.
I would just say I might be wrong. Is this the game that you hate beat?
Yes.
Or then ended up liking it, thinking about it?
Limbo is the one I hate beat.
Okay.
Inside is the follow-up to Limbo.
That's why
I thought I was going to also hate beat, but it ended up being I just loved it. Yeah. It's just great.
No, that's fine. You did a review for it, and let me just point out it was an amazing review. Deserves so much love for it, and you could see through that review how much you liked it.
Yeah. My number 2 is Alan Wake 2.
Oh.
Now, I liked this game because it plays well. It's very confusing, but it plays well. You're just the woman looking around for clues and stuff. And I liked how detailed the game has been so far. I've only played this game for about 2 hours as well. But like your very first case, the person's just completely naked and you can see everything, and you don't usually get that in a game. And just the story so far is very intriguing, and just the way that you can interact with everybody. And it's not an open world, but you can travel pretty far distances looking for clues and things like that, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
And again, I hope I have this random urge and just want to sit down and play it for another couple hours and get further into this story.
Do you think if you went back and played the Alan Wake controlled DLC, would that spur you to jump more to push further into Alan Wake 2, or do you really feel like you just need to be in the mood in order to jump back into a game like that?
Yeah, because I would need the urge to play the DLC.
Yeah.
This change of reactions.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle, Jeremy.
It's vicious.
It
is vicious.
This urge to do this urge.
Yep.
All right, let's go here with my number 2 game. The best life of an older 20s white man trying his best to juggle his work, family, and friends, all while keeping a secret that takes up so much of his time and makes it hard to do anything. And also, swagger of a black teen, game of the year goes to the one and only Spider-Man 2. Now, guys, I've already said it on this podcast. I love this game to death. I completed it 100%. I did everything you could possibly do in this game. I thought it was a fantastic Spider-Man story. The switching between Peter and Miles as the main Spider-Man hero and them having different powers was just a lot of fun. Kept the variety up. There's a couple spoilers that I would just love to shout about here. Jeremy, I feel like maybe you'll play it in the future.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Let me just say this. You get to play as Venom.
Yeah.
Now,
cool.
I'm sorry about that spoiler, anyone listening. We get to play as Venom. And for the short amount that you do, he is just the baddest dude on the planet. You have nothing to worry about. And there's moments like that throughout the game where it's just like, how are they going to top this? How are they going to top, like, oh my God. And as a huge Spider-Man fan, something like this gets propelled even further than, say, something like Final Fantasy 16, because I love the character of Spider-Man. I've really grown to like Miles Morales through his couple of movies and through his couple of games now. So I am completely sold in this world and the game. that Insomniac is making, and I'm down for any sort of spin-offs or future sequels to this universe that they're making, which we've seen a lot of that data already. But hey, this is an award show. Number 2, Spider-Man 2.
Oh, there you go. I mean, if there's any IP that will break that mold, I think it would be probably Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that's only number 2.
Yeah, I got a weird number 1 that you guys will probably never guess.
Stuff from left field, huh?
Yeah.
I will let you guess, but yeah.
Well, I think that my number 1 is probably fairly predictable.
I would hope so. I'm not going to say it, but I would hope it is what I think it is.
Winner of the number 1 spot, or as it's mostly known, the it's like Game of Thrones, except for the whole incest thing award, goes to Final Fantasy 16. It's a great game. Clive is a hero you can root for. His supporting cast are individuals you can root for. They get you to believe in the ideas that these characters are fighting for, the world. It borrows so many things from the real world, and it has that more adult, authentic, mature, grounded feeling, right? Except for the couple of times where you're fighting a couple of dragons in space, that's not very grounded, but everything else is very grounded. They're great characters. It's a great story, and I mean, yeah, it was just a great adventure. Like you said, maybe a couple or a few hours long, but I could live with it. I could live with it. If you're going to give me something like that, I can live with it. You know, I'm sure some of that just came from me wanting the grind and stuff anyway. It's the RPG habits of me. But 100%. Final Fantasy for this year wins it.
So that's very nice to see, because that was very unexpected. Like you said, you never really played a Final Fantasy before.
Right. I never played a Final Fantasy before until I remembered I did actually kind of play one.
To see it just jump to like first place, that's cool in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, earlier this year, if you told me, if you said, well, what's going to be your number 1 RPG this year? I would say Starfield.
Right.
And you're like, no, it's going to actually be Final Fantasy. Wait a minute. An IP I have absolutely no interest in is going to take Game of the Year for me, but that's what happened.
Yeah, I got nothing to say. I said it on mine, but I'm just very happy that you enjoyed it, because like David said, you had never really played one. Yeah. And this is definitely different than the other one, so it's not like you should go back and start playing all the series.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to jump back to play Final Fantasy 6. I mean, they can kick rocks on that. Yeah.
So I'm super happy that and it's also very rare for this podcast that 2 of us kind of enjoy the same game. So it was really fun talking to you about it, especially at your party.
Well, I mean, we both enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. I think all 3 of us enjoyed Valheim. Right.
But that's
only
handful.
2 games.
It's a handful.
That is a handful. Yeah. I for every one of those, you guys disrespect a game like Falconeer or something like that. So yeah,
we cover all genres, but
we do
not together.
Yeah,
usually
that's true.
Right. The funny story you guys talk about, it was just a few hours long. I just remembered as you guys were talking about it took me 100 hours to beat Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
long. I was so bad at that kind of game. That feels like my first one.
Well, also too, I feel like by nature of mechanics, turn-based games just take longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even if you're really good at it, it's like a 50-60 hour game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing and it's your first one
for noob time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. My number 1 is Gris. Okay. It's an indie game. It's the most simplest game I have probably played in many years. You literally just walk around and jump around. That's it. But the game is very beautiful. It reminds me of Omno in a way. Like it's simple, straight to the point, and slightly story based, you know? And I think that's nice. What brings me to make it first is how beautiful it was to me. It's just a very colorful. I don't even know what the name of the art style is, but
it's almost like illustration.
Water.
It's illustrate like water. Yeah, watercolor.
Watercolor.
Yeah. So, yeah, beautiful game. easy choice for my number one this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of repeating what I said in previous episodes, but I love that, David, you are definitely like the multiplayer guy, you know, Dead by Daylight for years, Overwatch for years, Apex
Right.
going. And then like you hit us with I played Grizz and I absolutely loved it. Like, what? How? Where do you even how do you even
where did that come from?
How do you even find that game? Yeah.
Right. And it warms my heart, and it's definitely a game I should try to play. It looks beautiful. It's beautiful, right? Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what hooked me. I saw the ad for it on Steam. I was like, yep.
Nice. All right, so a little caveat. So for my number one game, guys, I think gaming, as long as we have, I really enjoy like new experiences that I haven't had before, you know, and that's like almost something, if I do feel that, it really propels a game forward. So do you guys have a guess on what my number one could be?
It's not
I
a
need
sequel.
to hear the name first.
It's no, it's not a sequel.
Okay. A new gaming experience.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How many new types of gaming experiences you've had this year? And you've mentioned this game on the podcast?
Yeah, but it was
Dang.
very early in the year.
Can we hear the name?
That was okay. It's not gonna help. It's the best game I played so early in the year. I don't quite remember all the details, but I can still tell you that the way it made me feel was pure ungodly fun.
Okay.
Is
And
this
this
a VR
was
game?
Early in the
And
year.
this was a game that came out in December of last year. And I bought it in December of last year, but I played just a handful of hours.
Yeah.
And then I played about 80 hours in January and February. Just loved it to death.
Elden Ring.
No, that would have been my game of the year last year, though.
What was it? What was that really terrible name? Triangle Strategy.
You're closer, though. No. My game of the year is Marvel's Midnight Sun.
Wow.
Okay.
Now, gentlemen,
Interesting.
I can't express how much I love this game and how unique it was to me. Now, I know we're all sick of the Marvel franchise and the movies and the TV shows, but this really does a very good comic book accurate version of these characters, and it really gives you a lot of new characters, you know, like Nico and Magic and Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. So you get to see Blade, you get to see all these characters interacting, but for me, gameplay is king. And the gameplay of this game is so fresh to me and so unique that I couldn't put it down for, like I said, the 80 or almost 90 hours that I played. For anyone who doesn't know, it's made by Firaxis. Is that their name?
Yep.
They make the XCOM games, which is a tactical strategy game. This game is also tactical strategy, except you also use deck building. So you have a standard deck for each of your characters that you bring into a mission. And it's pretty simple, you know, attack an enemy, maybe get life back or stun them, blah, blah, blah. But every mission, you get to get a new card for one of the three that you brought into the mission. And then on your main base, the Abbey, sometimes you get to upgrade that stuff, or you get to get items that give it to your character, or you get to do combination cards. And it was so much fun just building out that deck and putting in my favorite cards, taking out old ones, going through all the stuff that the Abbey kind of like has to offer in terms of training and getting new cards and just new techniques and stuff like that. It was fun for me to interact with the characters because you play a character called the Hunter, which was made just for this game, but to kind of befriend these characters and just kind of see them do kind of like off the wall stuff that you would never see in an action game. There's a little side thing in there where you do a book club with Blade. Blade runs a book club because he wants to get closer to Captain Marvel, who he has a little bit of a crush on. And you get more members of the book club as it goes on. Eventually Captain America joins, eventually Wolverine joins, and it's kind of like too much for Blade. It's just, the interactions were great. The gameplay was fantastic. Jeremy, I know you played this one and you didn't love it, and that was mostly because of the Marvel name, but if you ever get a chance to go back to it, I bought it physically. I sold it when I was done. I regret it. I want it back. I'm waiting for it to have a huge bundle with all the DLC because they added 4 DLC characters that I would love to play. So Marvel Midnight Sun was just a very unique take on something I haven't played. And Firaxis is great. XCOM was great. This one, in my opinion, is a little bit better. So Marvel Midnight Sun is my game of the year.
Hey, you know what? I know that you were a huge fan of that game. I mean, yeah, I'm 100% with you. For me, they take that game, bundle up all the characters, You put it on Steam, $4.99. I'm there. You got me.
It might get there. It might get there. I heard it didn't sell well.
Yeah,
no chance at a sequel. So
yeah, I'm there because mechanically it is very interesting, and it works.
Right.
Yeah. That is interesting. That was quick. It leads us to the top 15 games, I guess. A little bit overlap, not quite 15 games. For our games of the year. I don't know. Are there any we've had 5. Can we think of were there any disappointments of the year that we want to maybe just mention? Maybe there's 1 or 2 games that we were really disappointed by. I mean, I don't know what else. We kind of flew by it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I will say that, yeah, for me in the honorary mentions, right, of having it's like Starfield and Kenna, right? I think I'd probably put City Skylines 2 there too. I mean, it has a lot of issues, but you know, it's kind of like trying to make sure to remove the bias of, hey, you just like this type of game so much, you're going to put it there regardless of how good it actually is from a somewhat objective standpoint. So like, kind of didn't really add it there, but I mean, like, you know, maybe it's got a chance. I did not, a game that I had to make sure I look back at that I couldn't add for this year because I wanted to, because I beat this game this year, was Wildermyth. Wildermyth did not make it because of a technicality in our process. But that's fine. That is 100% fine. You know?
Yeah.
You guys had fantastic list. I can't complain about them at all. Some of the games that I get a chance to play, I do want to play, you know, so good stuff. And as for disappointments, you know, Diablo 4, but there's a few games that I haven't even got a chance to play that maybe could, like something like Starfield. I know you were a little bit disappointed by it, but you know, maybe I like it. I don't know. So there's still a lot of games I got to play this year.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, well, go ahead, David.
I'm disappointed in Hellblade because it didn't come out.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think for a game like Starfield, if you are someone that strictly thought, I want to play Skyrim in space, and that is strictly how you thought of it, I think you will love Starfield.
Okay,
if you're someone that's like,
yeah,
I want
I'm
them to
surprised
build
there were
on
so many mixed
Skyrim,
reviews.
you're going to be completely disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, that's sometimes how the cookie crumbles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that leads us to we're near the end of the episode, which leads us to final thoughts, when we can make a final thought about something that's either related or unrelated to this podcast episode. So who would like to give their final thought first?
David, is your Steam name Mommy Says Let Me Win?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. Okay, someone can do their final thought. I was just interested by that.
Okay.
So it's, you know, I play Apex so much, so when they see my name, you know,
right,
like, oh, we gotta let this guy win, man. His mom wants him to.
That's how
I've gotten
goes.
quite a few good laughs from my teammates and stuff, so it's funny.
Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds. I guess you explained it thoroughly enough. That seems like something that would take quite a bit of explanation, but you seem to have summarized it pretty well. Yeah. So for final thoughts, I guess I would say that my final thought is we're rounding out this year. This podcast has had, I think, an interesting journey this year. We've been able to get somewhat of a influx of new listeners, which we appreciate all of you, old and new. And as we've been like revamping how the podcast works, the different things between, you know, if it's going to be our Mount Rushmore series, or if it's our, you know, PvP editions and different things like that, like kind of providing new content and experimenting with things. And so like we're appreciative of the feedback we get and people being interested in that, people supporting us in the ways they do through either getting the merch or the Patreon. I mean, like we mention those things pretty much every episode, but they're not really things that we like go on our socials and constantly talk about because we're just not really like that. And to be honest, like I just kind of forget. So most of the posts that we've posted on social media didn't have a link to the merch store. So if someone was even interested in getting something, they wouldn't have the link to get there. We're doing a little bit better with that. But yeah, I would say just overall just appreciation. and looking back at where the podcast is coming, where we plan on taking it for next year. So that's my final thought.
Nice. For me, it's the holidays, guys. We're 4 days away from Christmas. By the time the listeners get this, Christmas will be over. I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday. And for the people listening, hey, Happy New Year's to you. And just want to say Merry Christmas to you guys, especially. I probably won't talk to you before Christmas again. So it's been fantastic doing this podcast with you. I enjoy doing it every year. Just there's not much to say. You guys are great co-hosts, and I enjoy my time with you. And check out your Steams. I might have got you a little gift.
Yeah, I saw the pop up.
Yeah, I might have got you a little something. Enjoy it, gentlemen.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And imagine giving a gift to someone that's named my mommy says let me win. I mean, that's gotta be.
I knew something was up as soon as you asked.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do?
It's not really a subtle way to do. You're like, I gotta confirm. Can I confirm really quick?
Really his name?
You can click the name and see previous names.
I didn't want to get off the page. All right, I was already on the who do you want to send it to. I'm like,
yeah.
That makes sense. My final thought, you guys kind of said it all already. This has been very fun this year, and I appreciate you guys and the listeners. And it honestly, like, if it wasn't for you guys, if I ran a podcast by myself, it would have lasted a couple episodes. I don't have that push for many things. As you can see with these games that I play, I get addicted to one thing, and that's all I do. So I appreciate you guys giving me that responsibility of being here every week and doing the topics and doing the research that I do, and I appreciate the listeners. It's definitely like the reason we do it, but it just makes it better, because we could be talking to ourselves and that would be fine. But it makes it more enjoyable hearing the feedback and stuff.
100%. So that brings us to the end of level 91 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the Games of the Annual Awards. If you liked what you heard, please follow the podcast on the socials. I'm going to change it up a little. We're on Facebook and all those different places, Instagram, Thoughts.Players, Twitter at ThoughtsPlayer2, and then obviously on YouTube at Thoughts Players, where we upload video versions of the podcast. Make sure, if you can, people sneak over, share it. We're at 194 subs on YouTube. We'd like to break 200 before end of year if we can. That would be pretty cool. Also on Facebook, we're also close. Come on, we can do a push. Otherwise, you can also find the podcast if you aren't interested in the video versions. You can also find us on your preferred podcast platform, like a Spotify, like an Apple Podcast, like a Google Podcast. All the people out there. If you want to support, there are two ways you can do that. One is through the merch, right? Take this for instance. Oh no, that has something on it. Take this for instance. Again, I don't have the bottle, but I will show it eventually of where you can get different nice little merch, phone case, stickers, shirts, hoodies, all those different types of things. You can also support us at our Patreon. We have 3 tiers, a $2, $5, and $7 tier, each offering different or built upon goodies. You can check that out. We really support you there. But that is it for me. Fellas, is there anything else you would like to add?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Crisis.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next level.